I would just like all of you in the room to please join me in applauding Naveen, Suraj and the entire Meritto team, I think, for just putting this session together today. And thank you, Naveen, for having us. You're one of the most relentless entrepreneurs that I've had the honor of knowing over the last half decade or so. Glad to be here. And I think great job in also seeding the kind of conversations that you have done today. I don't know, Suraj, if this was on purpose, that the last question that we just spoke about was about sending students abroad. So thank you for just setting up the stage for me. I'm very grateful for the same. Just putting the number out there and things like that. But very quickly, in the short time that I have today, I'm going to speak about what we are building, how we are trying to. I resonate a lot with what Akash sir said earlier today about being granular and playing macro and micro at the same time, and being a combination of long-term thinking with patience and also ensuring you're very restless as you execute every single day. That's been pretty much a story, and I'm going to share some parts of it today with you. So pretty much what we are today, we started out in the first 18 months of our journey by being a typical top 100 school counseling company. We used to engage in a 40-hour session with kids who wanted to go to the top 100 schools. And at some point of time, we realized that that model wasn't scalable enough. And we realized that to play the larger game and to kind of really cater to all of these students who unfortunately don't have the access and the privilege of the right career advice, students who unfortunately aren't getting those 80-90% outcomes in their rote learning exams, there have to be options built out for them as well. And I think that's where I largely built out my own thinking, that just because somebody is not able to get a certain percentage in their entrance examinations or in their school exams doesn't mean that they aren't bright, doesn't mean that they don't deserve a career. And there is a certain form of education, certain form of program, a certain form of geography which is right for every single student. Which means to say that there is a school that has to be existing for somebody who's scoring 45% as well. There has to be a program existing for somebody who does not understand science but really is very passionate about automotive industry as well. There has to be something for somebody who's madly in love with winemaking and wants to pursue that as a career as well. So I think that pretty much solved the very thesis of what we were trying to build. And we went around and started partnering with programs and universities all across the world. And over time, we evolved as a company which had done the maximum amount of partnerships with foreign universities over a period of 3.5 to 4 years. So today, we partner with about 800 plus universities across the world. And we're one of the largest companies sending students from the India, Nigeria corridors into the UK, and now increasingly sending students to the US as well. The session spoke about we doing X number of counselings, and I'm going to focus some part of my talk on that today as well. But before I do that, what we realized was that as we were going about and helping the students with the whole process, we realized that a lot of these folks were largely moving abroad because they wanted to get out of the zip code that they were born in. And while some of them want to, of course, come back, a large amount of them also want to think about living abroad in that place where they're kind of studying. And when you look at things from that lens, it's important to realize that it's very, very, very important for people to be in a place where they can essentially be really succeeding. And we saw that when we looked at the typical companies that were in our space for the longest time, we looked at people were sent to schools where the typical agent, as people call our industry, the typical agent was sending them to a place where they would get maximum commission from. And our mission essentially emerged from that problem statement to say that we're going to send a student to a place where they actually can be really successful. So if a student is really excited about sports analytics, they need to go to a school called St. Mary's University on the outskirts of London, where they can get a guaranteed internship with Chelsea Football Club and not be sent to a random course in agriculture in Canada. If somebody is really passionate about, like I mentioned, automotive, they should be in Germany or they should be in Coventry University, where Tata's have put up a massive factory, and not be doing an MBA in Australia. And when we started thinking about, I'm a big fan of, I was earlier speaking with another gentleman about outcomes. When we realized that when we start thinking about education linked to outcomes, the premise of what we are doing radically changes immediately, because then the basic counseling that we do is not driven around how are we better. The basic counseling is driven around how can your outcome be really better. For example, if we are counseling a kid from Andheri, the way a simple counseling at Leverage goes, it says that, you know what, there are 15 people from Andheri who went to school in Colchester, which is about 2 hours away from London, called University of Essex last year. Of these 16, 18 people, 8 are working in a company called ARM, which is a robotics chip company funded by SoftBank. 4 are working with the government, 3 are working in an accounting firm, 1 or 2 people haven't got a job yet. And this is a typical amount of loan that you will have to take. This is the amount of time you will have to repay it in. And this is the kind of salary that you can imagine yourself to be consuming. So when we build that entire picture for the student about what their life could look at, they become much more excited about the proposition of studying abroad, and they essentially also are way more assured about what their university life could look like. And we realized, as we did more and more of really matching students to the careers that they will have after their university, we realized that that's where our success came from. Over time, we also realized that as we send a student abroad, it's really important for them to focus on a lot of other things that come in the way of making that dream come true. In 2021, we saw that 11% of students weren't able to go and pursue a degree abroad because they weren't getting loans on time. 7% weren't able to go through because you have people from emerging countries who are trying to make the maximum amount of buck for every paisa that they have in the bank, so they won't make a fee payment well ahead in advance. And banks in India would take about 3 to 4 days to kind of transfer a payment abroad. So we started doing things like education loans, we started doing things like Forex. Over the last 1 year, we started doing accommodation as well, and now that has become 30% of our business. So 25% of our business now is financial services, within which we do loans, Forex, within which we're also helping people open international bank accounts. Now we're launching a debit card for students in the UK and US. And another 5% is our accommodation business, and last month we also launched a food subscription service for students in the UK. So we realized that, again, that the service has to be very comprehensive. We have to not really focus on whether we are online or offline. We don't have to really focus on how we kind of getting maximum conversion. We have to really focus on how can I delight the customer as much as possible within this whole journey. And I think that's pretty much helped us shape where we kind of come from in terms of obsessing about the student journey. As we went about doing this, we realized that India is not the only emerging country from where students want to head out to universities abroad. There are other emerging countries which also have a potential to do this, and that's how we kind of expanded into the UAE over the last few months. That is how we ended up opening up Nigeria last year, and now about 10 to 12% of our business comes in from non-India countries where the students are heading to places like the USA, UK, Canada, and Australia. Just to kind of spend some time on the journey, we realized that we are at a Meritto event. We'll talk a little bit about this. This pretty much, this slide talks about how a student moves across the entire journey in a leverage ecosystem. So where a student is using our organic products to figure out what they really want to do. We have an app which has about 500,000 installs. Students can join our community, figure out what they want to do by speaking to university professionals directly, by speaking to other peers there. We have a content platform called Wings, which sees about 11 million unique users on the platform every single month. We have built multiple student-facing products like the AI University Course Finder, like a product called the UniConnect. And we have seen that students today are engaging with DIY products like these and figuring out what they really want to do. And once they have a larger, firmer grip on what they want to do and where they want to be at, our job becomes much more easier as a counselor. So 30% of our acquisition comes in from organic platforms like these. We realize again, I think like pointed out before as well, everybody in the education business is in the business of having great word of mouth, having great outcomes being built out. So 20% of our business today is referrals. I really tell the team every time that if we really want to build a very successful business, this number should be 50% plus. We need to build an organic brand which talks about our service in a way where a large amount of people are just using us without us spending even a single penny on it. And I think because I'm speaking to a room full of universities, I would also like to say that while a lot of us do social media, performance marketing, brand building activities, etc., I think one tool that has really helped us immensely is building a large network of affiliates. Because when things go wrong, It's often the affiliates who always stick by you in rainy days and cloudy days, and they're able to kind of hold your funnel together. Once a student discovers the right program that they want to study at, they start applying on a platform, and we do about 110,000 counselings every single month right now. And the first call that happens is basically via an AI bot. And AI bot is not mechanical, it's not a robotic voice, it's actually a real counselor. We had a counselor called Unnati, whose voice we recorded, who's actually asking the students about what's their budget, what intake do they really want to go to, do they have their passport in place, and what do they really kind of expect in terms of the program or country they want to go to, which is followed by a coach. Actually, we have about 200 plus coaches in the Leverage ecosystem, a coach actually doing a video intro call. What these things do is it actually also weeds out anybody who's not serious about the whole process. So we ensure that there is enough intent being shown by the student as they engage with us in the process. Also because we largely make our money when the student finally goes to the university. So we try to keep making the intent thicker and thicker with every single aspect of the entire consumer funnel. Post which we have an app that all our counselors and coaches use, which is called Leverage Launchpad. And within Launchpad, we have a ready-made toolkit of sorts built out for these counselors to counsel the students, A, in a similar way, and B, in a very productized way. And this is something that we kind of evolved into, because in our early years, we realized that if a counselor would essentially start engaging with a student, and the counselor disappears, and then with that, the student would also kind of disappear into some other company. We realized that the service experience for the student will have to be very, very standardized. And if somebody else comes in and picks up the student journey from the middle, they have to have the right resources to be able to do justice to it, to be able to do the right job towards the student. So we prioritized the entire student engagement as much as possible, and that happens on our app called Leverage Launchpad, where the shortlist for the universities happens on the platform itself, where the entire student journey is divided across 36 different touch points. So at every single touch point, the counselor gets a couple of key loops, key fed-in loops, where they essentially have to say, okay, if a student is waiting for an offer, these are the 4 things that you can say. If the student is now waiting for a loan to come through, these are the 5 things that you can say. And that ensures that our service experience is much more standardized as we kind of move along. Once the admission is confirmed by the university, we help them with a loan, we help them with Forex, like I said. A lot of these students who are going from tier 2, 3, 4 cities in India often get conditional offer letters, so we help them preparing for their foreign language exams. Mostly the exams that are taken are IELTS and TOEFL, and there onward, we partnered with a player called VFS, which runs a subsidiary called One Vasco. So we have something called, and this again goes back to the point that I made earlier about the service being really comprehensive at every single step of the journey. So we ensure that for all of our students who get an offer from a university, we run a service called VAD, Visa at Doorstep, which means that a student, after they get a confirmed letter from a university, they will have a person from our team actually go to the doorstep, get their documents, come back, and then kind of get them a visa back at the doorstep within the next 10 to 15 days. Post which we started with student accommodation, we're now doing banking, and doing other services along the entire funnel so that we can also have happy students through the whole process. Won't spend too much time at it, but largely to speak about the fact that we try to integrate technology as much as possible at different stages of the whole process to ensure service experience is standardized, both for the students as well as now increasingly for the universities we work with as well. So for some universities, we are now saying that can we really help you with your credibility interviews? A lot of our universities that we work with have a problem of, and I'm sure I did not know this till about 4 years back, that if a university is getting 8,000 applicants, unfortunately, they're not looking at all the 8,000 applications. They're only looking at the first 2,000 applications on a first come, first served basis. So we told these universities that why can't we have you take a look at all of these applications? We give you technology that lets AI at least do a basic check around the credibility of the student, whether the student is able to speak the language fluently, whether the student is able to resonate with what your university really stands for. And we have had great progress with this product. This is being used by about 24 odd universities right now. And there onward, of course, we built out a platform where students can use the Forex services to be able to pay the fee and get financing assistance as well. So that's pretty much what we're doing. Happy to engage with any of you later and answer any questions as well. Thank you so much.